Hello everybody and welcome back to Miranda Detailing, where we make satisfying detailing videos. Today's video is a new car prep on this 2020 Ford Mustang GT. Alright guys, so we are going to be doing a new car prep on this brand new 2020 Mustang GT. This thing is jet black, it is beautiful. It just got these nice chrome rims put on them right before the car was delivered to us. Now this is also going to have an interior detailing, but there's really not much to do in the interior as much as cleaning. So we're going to vacuum it, we're going to wipe it down, but then we're also going to apply Geon leather shield to all of the leather and vinyl surfaces on the interior of the vehicle. That'll be quick and easy. The exterior is going to receive the new car prep service. So cleaning, full deconning, and then we're going to do a one-step polish using CarPro Essence, and then we're going to install CarPro CQuartz UK Edition 3.0, 2 layers of this, and then 1 layer of gliss. So 3 layers on top of the vehicle to protect it. And hopefully this should get about 2 to 3 years. This vehicle does sit outdoors, but the owner takes very good care of it. It's going to be protected for a long time. So guys, before we go any further, I hope you're enjoying content like this, and if you are, then consider subscribing and clicking that bell. That way you get notifications each time our videos drop each week and you don't miss stuff. And if you're interested in any of the products that we're going to be using in today's video, then check out the links down below. They either go to Amazon or to Car Guy Supplies, so you can purchase those products easily. So let's go ahead and check the vehicle out before we wash it. We have it here in the garage. So now the paint is in really good shape, so I used the spotlight on it to see if there was any major defects. And again, after the wash and the full decon and drying and clay barring, then again we'll examine the paint to see how it looks. But so far it's just dirty from road grime and traveling on the road. There is some weird residue buildup. Maybe that could be from the dealership waxing it or polishing it or doing whatever they did to it. So we might find some areas that may need some more attention as far as compounding, and then we'll be able to polish it.
As usual, we start with the rinsing phase, making sure to pre-rinse, degrease everything, and then foam down and begin the wash process. Using a foam cannon like this and plastering the paint with foam really adds to a gentle wash. As the snow foam is soaking and dissolving grime and gunk, we make sure to clean the wheels and brush and agitate all of the cracks and seams. Then we rinse it all off, refoam it again, and then wash. We don't always do this to every vehicle, but to new vehicles that may have delicate paint, we want to tread very carefully. Using 2 different mitts, we wash the bottom and the top surfaces separately. Now that everything is washed and rinsed, it's on to the chemical decon stage. So we're using mcguire's iron remover and decon. This stuff works really well, but it stinks. There really wasn't much to decon on this paint at all, since it was brand new, and didn't have a lot of miles. But I did go through the motions using a chemical decon to make sure that the paint was iron particle free.
Okay guys, so the initial APC rinse, the rinsing, the washing step is done. We just used mcguire's iron decon on the wheels and the paint. Really, there was nothing to dissolve at all. So if you think it doesn't need it, you can skip that step. There's no need in wasting product. However, I'm gonna go through the processes anyway, just to show you guys. Again, this is a brand new car. It's a 2020 Mustang GT, but I'm gonna use CarPro Tar X and see if it picks up any tar. I'm not gonna use on the wheels. The wheels were just installed, so there's barely any mileage on the wheels. Don't waste product if you don't need to use it. But I'm gonna use it on the lower portions of the vehicle here, and then we'll use a yellow towel, one of our microfiber towels, see if it picks up anything. Just gently go over the surface and see if it picks up anything. And I'm not really picking up anything at all. Yeah, it's pretty clean. So it's really not bad at all since it's brand new. Okay guys, so there's nothing on the towel. So again, was it a needed step? Probably not. But if you want to go through the motions doing this, it's up to you. Just remember, don't waste product if you don't need to. If it's a brand new car and the paint feels smooth and there's really low mileage on it, it hasn't seen any type of mileage on the road, don't waste product. You can if you want to, but in my case, I'm not going to do that. Hi buddy, what are you doing? No. That's weird. So we're using AM clay, and it's designed to use with just water, but just for demonstration's sake, I'm going to just use the O&R and see if it picks up anything. It's a very mild clay bar. Yeah, nothing. The paint is just super smooth, even all the way down to the bottom. So we'll lightly go over the paint and then rinse it and dry it. So I did find a few little deposits of something just right up there in the corner, just a little bit, but not much. It's pretty clean. All right, the vehicle is now cleaned, deconned, dried, ready to go. And ready to start polishing and coating. So let's take a look around the vehicle. Yeah, there are a few spots right there that look like it was hit with a compound or a polisher or something. So we'll sort those out. Some of these are just drying marks. I haven't wiped everything down yet. And I also noticed, oh yeah, there's some hologramming. So just as we suspected, there was a lot of, residue, dust, and yep. So definitely someone was here with a polisher, with a rotary, and left all these buffer trails. But that's okay, we'll sort these out. I'm just hoping they're not everywhere. But yeah, somebody hit the middle of the hood Let's see if there's anything else. There might be some areas elsewhere. Some of these areas I just haven't wiped down completely. Yeah, there might be a few little areas, yeah, here and there. Now this isn't going to be a full paint correction. This is going to be a paint enhancement. So it should rid the vehicle of the majority of this. It's just light stuff. I haven't wiped everything down yet, just a few areas to check. But it looks like as we go through, we will probably discover more as we polish each section. Ah, and they hit the rear spoiler. Looks like the whole thing they hit, but definitely concentrated more on those sides there. That's ugly. So it looks like primarily it's up in this area. The middle of the hood, the spoiler, this area is all jacked up. Oh well. Well, fresh from the dealership, that's to be expected. So we're going to use CarPro Essence, and if I need to go any further, I may use M110 or the Ultra Finishing Polish, but to compound, I'll most likely use that. And then this will finish it up, and of course, leave the primer for the coating. So let's get started. Okay, so the hologramming is gone. So at least that is pretty easy to remove. There's that horrible hologramming over there. Isn't that crazy? But at least it's all gone here. So we'll continue to refine it and move along with the paint. But if you look really close, it actually has the slightest undertone of blue pearl in the paint. So it's not jet black. It has a little bit of pearl. That's really cool. Let's continue finding the right combo to finish everything out. That is a beautiful sight. Now it's really nice and refined. Again, it's not a full paint correction, so there are going to be some little tiny marks that remain, but that's okay. It doesn't look like this anymore. It's nice and glossy and refined, and look, you can see that metallic. It's kind of hard to focus, but there you go. You can see that blue metallic. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so that's the right combo. So I tell you, these orange Lake Country pads are my favorite. They're just the perfect combination of aggressiveness with the stiffer foam, and it finishes so well. So with an all-in-one, HD Speed works really well on these orange pads. They have never done me wrong. They are amazing. Coupled with Essence, which is basically a fine polish. It doesn't have much cut to it. However, the finishing ability with this pad, this combo, this. So now we're going to do that all around the vehicle. It will get rid of all the ugly holograms that are here. It'll refine everything, and then we'll let it sit overnight, and we'll coat it tomorrow. We'll also coat the wheels. We're going to use Geon trim for, not Geon trim, we're going to use Geon rim for all the wheels. They're that nice, super bright chrome, and they're brand new. And then we'll use Geon trim on all of the plastic. So just the cowl, the plastic here, there's that lower rocker panel that we're going to do, and some plastic in the rear part of the bumper, as well as the plastics up here. So we'll make sure to coat all of those areas, and then we'll coat the paint in CarPro. Now, why am I splitting it up like that? Because that's just what I have. I have the Geon products here, the trim and the rim products, and then I have the CarPro CQuartz UK edition and Gliss to top it. So, you know, I like to stay within the same line, but you don't have to. You can use a variety of different products here. I was going to use this product, so this is from Pinnacle Black Label, their ceramic trim restore, but this is more of a restoring product. It actually kind of has a black dye in it, and I didn't want to use that on this vehicle. I want to use this for really faded trim. Lots of different trim restoring products, but we don't need to restore anything. I'm just going to use the protectant, the ceramic coating, to protect it. So you remember all of those holograms that were here? Well, I figured out why they were there. There are some scratches right there, right in that light, right there. And they're not super deep, but we're going to attack those and try to lighten them up as much as possible. I don't know if I'll be able to get them completely out, but at least, diminish them to the point where you can barely see them. Don't know how those were caused, but the dealership obviously tried to get them out. So right there is actually on that center crease of the hood. That's direct center. And then there's that scratch there, and there, and there. And you can see the other little swirls all around it from somebody else attacking it with a buffer. So let's compound that area, and we're going to use mcguire's D300 correction compound. Ignore the label. It's an old bottle. And the cutting pad. We will attack it with that, maybe one or two, hits using this, and we'll see how much we can lighten it up, and then we'll polish it. This stuff can do some pretty amazing work, so let's see what it can do. Okay, that was a success. So you see, yeah, it's all marred up from compounding. That's just what it does. Now I know that some people who are not used to polishing are going to look at this and say, that looks horrible. However, polishing, compounding, paint correcting, we know that this is DA haze, that is compounding haze. By compounding, you're inducing damage, your own damage, but you are basically leveling the paint and trying to get rid of that scratch. Now there was something else right there. I think that's pretty light. That should come out. We'll see. I might have to maybe hit that a little bit more. But let's polish it and see what it does. But that's the results that we want. It took out that big scratch, or a couple of those big scratches. Alright guys, those are results that you want. Crisp and clear. No sign of the scratches. They were all removed, so that's good. But man, that looks so nice. That just looks so crisp and clear. That is awesome. That achieved the results that we wanted. The scratches are gone. The marring is gone from the compounding stage. It's all polished. And I think that this CarPro Essence does have some filling capabilities, which I'm a fan of. I'm completely fine with fillers to a minimal degree, because if there's any light marring or any little tiny micro scratches or micro marring that's left, it will fill it, and then you lock it in with the coating. It's completely okay. I'll talk about that in later videos. A lot of guys don't like fillers because they think you're not seeing the true condition of the paint. Perhaps that's true, but you want to preserve paint. You do not want it to be compromised. So you don't want to shoot for 110% perfection, because basically you are thinning out the paint if you keep going like that. So for a brand new vehicle, I don't go for full corrections. Paint enhancements to get those results. That's awesome. So this and that, and then this and that, this. beautiful. And I can get into these areas even without the 3-inch polisher. If you tilt the Rupes polisher just at the right angle, it'll still rotate, and you can get these little curves and angles, even in here, pretty much. If you're doing intricate correction, then you might need to pull out the 3-inch polisher or your little 1-inch, but this is actually looking really, really good. So the hood is done. So we're making our way around and it's looking awesome. Still just using the orange pad with CarPro Essence, and it's making a huge difference. It looks so nice and clear. However, we came upon this little spot. Someone tried to do some denibbing on a little dust nib in the clear coat, and you know, they just didn't refine it. So we're gonna have to go a little bit more aggressive, compound this area a little bit more, and then polish it and get that looking nice and clear. So let's do that. All right, that is all cleared up. That little dust nib chip thing there is still there, unfortunately. Nothing we can do about that. All that horrible pigtailing and wet sanding marks, they're gone. Nice and crystal clear. So we're, again, working through. We have this area here that has been unpolished, so this is untouched. And we just polished this area. Crisp and clear. So guys, as we're moving along the back bumper here, check this out. Now, usually the bumpers are always like this. They're just slightly different. But look at the metallic flake in the bumper compared to the rest of the vehicle. Now, don't be alarmed. That's just usually what happens. Sometimes the bumpers are painted off the vehicle and then installed later, so there's a big difference. But again, you won't really notice this unless you're using high-powered lights. But again, I just thought it was interesting, that high metallic flake compared to a little bit of pearl in the paint.
Remember that with paint corrections or enhancements, there is no one way of doing things. There is no magical product, pad, or machine that works every time. Each vehicle's paint may be slightly different, and the defects and swirls may be worse on some than on others. That's why you see my methods change just slightly. If I were to use the same products, pads, arm speed, and technique every single time, I would not get the results I want. Paint correction is a fluid process. You need to be aware of how the paint responds on each vehicle and sometimes on each panel. That's why you see me change speeds, have slower or faster arm movement, or change a pad or product on the fly as I work around the vehicle. I usually start with a certain compound and pad combo and change it up as I work around the vehicle, noticing changes and variations on the paint. Never go by the empty philosophy of critics who see these videos and think they notice things when really they have no idea the condition of the paint, its softness or hardness, the degree of swirls and defects, and so on. They are not here working on this particular vehicle, so they have no say. Even if they've worked on the same year, model, and make, there may be variances from year to year or even month to month on paint and clear coats from factory, so each job may vary slightly. If you're just learning how to perform paint corrections, the best teacher is time and experience. True, take pointers and tips from other seasoned professionals, but take what you learn from them and adapt it to fit your own style. Don't adhere to the misinformed critics that say you're doing it incorrectly or you should do it like so-and-so. As long as you're getting the results you and your customers want, that's the important part. All right, let's get to coating. So the vehicle has been sitting overnight. It's the next day. All the polishing was done on the paint with CarPro Essence. So this right here. So it has had overnight to cure, over 12 hours.
So with this stuff, this is really nice. This is an awesome polish to use. I used it with the orange pad like you saw. The paint is looking perfect. It's looking beautiful. I let it sit overnight, and this does already have the SiO2 built into it, and it kind of primes the paint for the coatings that will go on top of this. So using CarPro CQuartz UK Edition 3.0, 2 layers, and then we're putting gliss on top of that. So nice hardy base coats, and then the gliss is considered like, if you're used to the Guion Synchro Kit skin, gliss is like skin. It's the super hydrophobic top layer that goes on top of CQuartz. CQuartz alone is amazing. Just one layer is amazing and should last you 18 to 24 months if properly taken care of. But putting this many layers on, it's super, super hardy, very, very durable, and it'll just give amazing gloss and awesome hydrophobic effects. Very easy to maintain and clean after that. We're going to start on the trim first. There's not a ton of trim on here. You have the bottom piece here. You have a little bit of the honeycomb grill here. Fortunately, these are painted, so we won't have to bother with all those, but those down there. Then we have the windshield cowl here. We have these little plastic bits and rubber pieces. We'll coat those. And then the back end probably has the most. So all of this back here needs to be treated. So all this plastic, but that's about it. All the glass has already been treated. The windshield was polished and coated, and I put the coating on all the rest of the glass all the way around. We still have yet to do the interior. We'll do that tomorrow. But for right now, we're going to be using Guion trim. So this is their trim coating, and I really do like this stuff. I have used CarPro Deluxe. I've used G4 from G-Technic. That's their trim restore and coating. And I've enjoyed all of them, and I'm just using this one for now because this is what I have in stock, and I love it. It's really a nice trim coating, and it holds up really, really well. So I'll be using a little micro suede with that, and we will coat all the plastics. So let's get to it.
If you're interested in any of the products or tools that we use, check out the links down below. These little hexagon foam swabs are perfect for applying coatings onto the plastic honeycomb grill.
So guys, when you're coating around these areas, it's a little tricky because you're probably going to overlap into the paint a little bit, but that's okay. Just get a towel, wipe off any of the residue, just right away. With trim coatings, just wipe on. Sometimes you don't even need to wipe off with trim. If it looks a little uneven or a little muddly, then you can. But just grab your light and make sure to remove any of the residue from the paint or the glass. And I always do the trim first just to get it out of the way. Going to overlap into the paint anyway, but that's fine. You can just remove it very easily, but your light just helps you catch any of that residual coating. And there we go. It's looking good. Now all the trim is done. Now we're on to the paint. All right, guys, coating time. So I have my apron on. It's not too hot here, which is nice. So I'm going to be using this because it's just a safer option to not induce any type of damage on the paint. Nice soft microfiber apron, and we have our towels that we're going to tuck into the pockets here. And again, that just is for convenience sake. So I always have one towel in one pocket, and that will be my initial wipe. And then I have the other one in the other pocket. That's the final wipe. And I will most likely switch out towels. I'll probably use about 3 or 4 towels per layer. So I know it does sound like a lot of towels. However, that's the cost of installing coatings. So make sure that when you are installing coatings, depending on the layers, charge accordingly. I can't tell you what to charge. It's different in every area. It's all according to your demographic. So I charge a certain amount. That's just me. That's just here. You charge what you want to charge. So we are going to blow off just some of the dust and start with the clean surface. Of course, it did sit overnight. It accumulates a little bit of dust, but I just use my air compressor, blow it off so that there's no contact with the paint or anything like that, and then get right to coating. So I could have just coated it yesterday right after I was done and just wiped it down with the eraser. When you're dealing with paint that might be finicky or soft, you want to reduce the amount of touching on the paint, and especially with liquids. So I've had some cases where I did wipe down the vehicle right after I was done polishing, and whether it was the towel or the paint just being soft and finicky, it induced a little bit of wiping marks from the towel. Sometimes that happens. So I try to minimize the contact on the paint. That's why I use products like this that act as a primer, laying a foundation where you don't need to use an isopropyl alcohol wipe down. So I encourage companies to do that. It speeds it up. It's so much better. And by speeding it up, I mean not having to go back and correct things or fix things after you polish them. Yeah, you might have to wait overnight or the next day to coat, but it's way better than having to redo things and the frustration of it all. If you can just polish, wipe it, it's perfect. Let it sit overnight. It cures. It's filling in whatever it needs to fill in. That's not a problem with me. I am totally on board with minor fillers, especially when doing coatings like this, because you're going to lock it in and you'll be good to go. So I love this product because of that. Geon Primer is the same way. So you basically polish, you let it sit overnight, and then you can go right over it with the coatings. I just prefer that. So with that said, we're going to take our coating. First of all, I'm going to blow off the paint, but I'm going to take the coating. We're going to be using, I am going to use some of the micro suedes that were included. I'm just going to try it out again. I'm always just trying things out. So you know I like to use those little blue microfiber applicators, and I do have a few left. I actually forgot to order some. So I'll probably be using that on some sections. I'll use the micro suedes in other sections, and we'll get everything all coated. So I ditched that micro suede. I was using it and I can't get used to it. I don't like it. I don't think it applies as nicely as using just a simple microfiber applicator like this. So much more even, and I feel that it spreads the product out better. I don't know. I guess it's just me. Well, I know a few of you like the microfiber applicator also. I'm just not a fan of that suede block or those suedes. I feel that it drags too much, and I just don't like that. I don't like any type of dragging friction feeling on the paint, and this coating already is like that by nature, so I want to reduce that as much as possible and use an application method that is smooth and non-draggy, if that's a word. And this does the trick. It's just a smoother, better application. I can get into like these harder to reach little corners and areas of the vehicle just so much better, so much easier with that applicator. Oh yeah, so much better. Beautiful. Make sure to always overlap, go into the section that you just did, and just make sure that there are no areas that have transferred over and leave a little smudge of residue somewhere. Just make sure to double check with lights all the time. It's a little warm in here in my garage, so it seems to be flashing away a little bit quicker, so that's good. And once I see it starting to flash, then I'll go ahead and help spread it out. And this doesn't just wipe up some of the residue, it also spreads it out. That's always the first towel that I use, and then the second towel is to even it out even more and pick up any residual little high spots of residue. And basically you are spreading it out until it flashes away. And yeah, it is picking up the transfer fluid, and of course that transfers onto your towel. So when I'm done with these towels, I just put them in a bucket of water with some degreaser, and I'll use them for interior. I won't use it for paint. Even if you put it in a bucket of water with soap and degreaser, it will still get a little crunchy. And you do not want crunchy towels on your paint. Ah, perfect. Make sure to overlap. All right, guys, I'm gonna fly on this. Let's put it on a time lapse. Okay guys, the 2 coats of the first CQuartz are done. So I had about maybe 3/4 of this bottle that was left over and finished that. Had to crack open a new one, and I'm about 1/3 of the way down already. So the second coat goes much faster, which is nice. It does start to slicken up, and I could spread it out a little bit thinner, or I could spread it out a little bit farther, and it flashes faster, wipes faster. So the second coat went much faster, but it took me about 1.5 hours just to put the first layer on. And then when I came around here, I just started over again and would go a little bit slower as I went towards the back there to make up for the time. So now we're going to wait to apply the gliss, because you're supposed to wait 4 hours after the first 2 initial coats of CQuartz. That's not going to fly today. It's about 4:30 right now. I might be able to wait until 8:30 and knock out the last coat. We'll see. But if not, you can wait to the next day to coat it. We'll see what happens. I might be able to just throw on that quick coat at 8:30 this evening, because this goes much faster. The application of this, it flashes quickly, and you basically just fly with this coating. Very, very easy to apply. Just like Guion's skin, it's just very, very smooth, very slick, and it just wipes off very fast. So this will be a very fast application, which is nice. But the third application, it is looking amazing. I noticed with the second application of CQuartz that it was getting slicker, and it just feels so nice. I'm loving it. We will have to do the interior tomorrow, so we just have a light wipe down in there, the interior glass to clean, and we're going to clean and coat the leather inside, and then we'll be done. And then just dress the tires, make sure the exhaust tips are looking good, any little touch-ups on the glass, and we'll be good to go. Now I will also be able to apply CarPro Reload. So CarPro Reload goes on top of this, and again, it's just a sacrificial layer that just adds a little bit more protection and lets everything cure through it. Ceramic coatings are prone to water spots, unfortunately. And that's usually within the first few days, the first week or so, and then after that, it's a little bit more resilient. But that's one of the drawbacks of ceramic coatings, is it creates such a hydrophobic surface that it leaves beads. There's an argument between beads and sheeting and all of that. This does both. It'll bead and it'll sheet water, but when it rains or anything like that, it tends to bead on the top surfaces. So that can lead to water spots. But there are ways around that. There are water spot removers that they make that take care of that, or you can simply make sure that you have a silica sealant on top of the coating. That will take the brunt of any of the bird droppings or water spots or anything like that, and will make things much easier to clean. So, all right, we'll wait 4 hours. I think I want to do it tonight. I'll wait 4 hours till 8:30. We'll coat it. The only thing that we need to do is interior stuff, glass, and CarPro Reload. And that's it. So guys, we are now applying, that's not right. So guys, we are applying the gliss, and I'm using the little coating saver applicator, which I do really like. This is the last one I have. I'll have to order some more. But this stuff, so easy to use, and it produces a very, very slick surface. So it flashes away quickly, so you don't really need to let it sit. You wipe it on and make sure that it's even, and then you wipe it off. And I'm going a little bit larger sections because I can. This application is very, very quick. Wipe on, wipe off, and man, is it slick. I love it. It is nice. And it flashes away and wipes away very easily. So this stuff, pretty awesome. Very, very happy with it. Again, I'm just using the 2 towel method, and that seems to work really well. Make sure you have your light by your side and just double check. But yeah, it flashes away so quickly. You just have to catch little bits towards the edges. Make sure to overlap, and you really feel, you really feel the slickness. So this is awesome. So guys, if you want to pick up this product, this is CarPro GLISS. It goes on top of CQuartz. Any of the CQuartz, either the UK edition or the regular CQuartz from CarPro. And this is the top layer, super hydrophobic. This stuff is awesome, so easy to apply. But you have to wait 4 hours before your last coat of whatever you put on here. You apply your CQuartz, wait 4 hours or so. If you're a warmer environment, it can be a little bit sooner, and then you apply this stuff on top of it. Okay guys, we're done. Whew. That is it. It is past my bedtime. You can tell I'm actually not in my work clothes anymore. I got my pajamas on, but you do what you gotta do. So the vehicle is done. It's basically like 6 hours of just coating the vehicle. And of course the wait time, the 4 hours in between the GLISS and the CQuartz. So a lot of that is just applying tediously and waiting for it to cure. But it is done now. All the paint is done, trim is done, glass is done, all the exterior is done, the wheels, I just have to dress the tires. But the interior will be for tomorrow. It's already late, and we'll get started on it tomorrow in the morning, and we'll give it a wipe down, cleanse all the surfaces, and then apply the Guion leather shield. And I also have Dr. Beasley's leather coating, so we might try some of that stuff out too, because I like that coating as well. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
The inside of the Mustang was not bad at all, but it did need a wipe down and a vacuuming, and we used Guion leather cleaner to wipe down all the surfaces to prep it for the coating. Now that everything is vacuumed and wiped down and cleaned, it's time to coat all the leather and plastic. So we're using Guion Leather Shield. This coating is excellent. It's a very strong coating that protects the leather and the plastics. It's very easy to apply. Basically, wipe it on, let it start to flash away, and then buff off any of the residue.
Leather coating is done, so it's just drying. And when it dries, it just looks a little uneven, but that's okay. It dries completely matte, so there's no shine to it whatsoever. It just looks like it's natural. There's nothing on there. So that'll protect it for probably up to a year. The durability on this stuff ranges. It all depends on how much use it gets. Usually the driver's seat and that side will get a lot more wear and tear, so maybe up to 6 months, maybe more. It all depends. So these areas here, you'll probably get years worth. They may not be used as much. So we'll let this all dry out. I'm just going to hit the door jambs a little bit. All the glass is done inside, so that's looking really nice and crisp, and we are on our way to completing it. All right, guys, the Mustang is done, completed. Finally, it's been here for 3 days and now everything is done. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, like it, share with others who may enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe and click that bell. That way you get notifications each time our videos drop each week and you don't miss stuff. So again, thank you for watching. Have a safe week. We'll see you next time. Take care.